was odd, disconcerting, and certainly memorable. A fair indication of all that was to come. This was the great turning point of my life. I had never had literary ambitions. Indeed, if anyone had suggested that I might be a published writer, I would have laughed at the thought. But I think I can say, in all honesty and without flattering myself, that I have become quite renowned for the way I have chronicled the adventures of the great man, and felt no small sense of honour when I was invited to speak at his memorial service at Westminster Abbey, an invitation which I respectfully declined. Holmes had often sneered at my prose style, and I could not help but feel that had I taken my place at the pulpit, I would have felt him standing at my shoulder, gently mocking whatever I might say from beyond the grave. It was always his belief that I exaggerated his talents and the extraordinary insights of his brilliant mind. He would laugh at the way I would construct my narrative so as to leave to the end a resolution which he swore he had deduced in the opening paragraphs. He accused me more than once of vulgar romanticism and thought me no better than any Grub Street scribbler. But generally I think he was unfair. In all the time that I knew him, I never saw Holmes read a single work of fiction, with the exception, that is, of the worst items of sensational literature. And although I cannot make any great claim for my own powers of description, I am prepared to say that they did the job, and that he himself could have done no better. Indeed, Holmes almost admitted as much when he finally took pen to paper and set out, in his own words, the strange case of Godfrey Emsworth. This episode was presented as The Adventure of the Blanched Soldier, a title which in itself falls short of perfection in my view, for blanching would surely be more appropriate to an almond. I have, as I say, received some recognition for my literary endeavours, but that, of course, was never the point. Through the various twists of fate, which I have outlined, I was the one chosen to bring the achievements of the world's foremost consulting detective to light, and presented no fewer than 60 adventures to an enthusiastic public. More valuable to me, though, was my long friendship with the man himself. It is a year since Holmes was found at his home on the Downs, stretched out and still, that great mind forever silenced. When I heard the news, I realized that I had lost not just my closest companion and friend, but, in many ways, the very reason for my existence. 2 marriages, 3 children, 7 grandchildren, a successful career in medicine, and the Order of Merit awarded to me by His Majesty King Edward VII in 1908 might be considered achievement enough for anyone. But not for me. I miss him to this day, and sometimes in my waking moments I fancy that I hear them still, those familiar words. "The game's afoot, Watson." They serve only to remind me that I will never again plunge into the darkness and swirling fog of Baker Street with my trusty service revolver in my hand. I think of Holmes often, waiting for me on the other side of that great shadow which must come to us all. And in truth, I long to join him. I am alone. My old wound plagues me to the end, and as a terrible and senseless war rages on the continent, I find I no longer understand the world in which I live. So, why do I take up my pen one final time? To stir up memories which might better be forgotten. Perhaps my reasons are selfish. It could be that, like so many old men with their lives behind them, I am seeking some sort of solace. The nurses who attend me assure me that writing is therapeutic and will prevent me from falling into the moods to which I am sometimes inclined. But there is another reason, too. The adventures of the man in the flat cap and the House of Silk were, in some respects, the most sensational of Sherlock Holmes's career. But at the time it was impossible for me to tell them, for reasons that would become abundant.